Okay, hi guys. So welcome to Project J. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for participating into this project. And we students from UM, Faculty of Computer Science and Technology from AI Division, we will make sure you guys get the best out of this course. So my name is Basha, and today we are going to learn about just introduction. So we won't go in detail, but just some basics about Java that you should know. So what are we going to learn today? So first is what is programming, introduction to Java, types, instance variables, operators, method structure, and some preview of the future sessions. Okay, some basics that you should know. So this is actually what happens when you give a command or instruction inside a computer. Sorry. So basically, whenever you give an instruction to a computer, it will fetch the data from us or from the memory, and then it will begin the operation inside the CPU, and then the output will be shown through the I/O devices. So this is actually a simple addition that is done in a CPU. So first, it fetches the location of X and Y from the data, and then the addition will be done in the CPU, and then the output will be shown in through the desktop. So this is actually machine instructions, or it can also be called machine code. But in this session, we are not gonna learn about machine code. So So guys, this is actually example of machine code. So as you can see, machine code it consists of like everything, literally everything numbers. So if you guys try to learn machine code, it will actually cause you a headache. So that is why we are learning programming languages. So by using a programming languages, it is easier to understand than CPU instructions. And by using programming languages, it can be translated for the CPU to understand it. So basically CPU, it only understands numbers. And for this project J, we are going to teach you Java. So it is one of the most popular language, and it runs on a virtual machine, which is Java virtual machine. So virtual machine means it's just a software. So it is more complex than some languages such as Python, but it is simpler than others. So if you guys have prior experience in C++, then Java would be easy for you guys. Compiling Java. So as I told you before, this source code is the code that we've written as users, and then by using Java compilers, we are converting the source code into the bytecode. So bytecode is the language that is understood by computers. Concept of object in Java. So Java is an object-oriented programming OOP language. OOP is about creating objects that contain both data and methods. So basically, objects are the main actors in Java program. So Java is an OOP language, so it's about creating objects. So basically, you can create any object you want, and we'll take a look at some example, guys. Okay, first, an object is created, instantiated from a class. Class is a blueprint that models the state and behavior of objects created. When the object is created, it will inherit all the state and behavior that we define in the class. So let me give you a simple example, guys. So let's say the class we create is animal. And from the animal class, we can create an object like tiger. So you need to understand that the class and the object, it needs to be related. So you can see the second line here. Class actually is the blueprint that models the state and behavior of objects created. So now we have created an object called tiger. So in the class, we can create a state and behavior for the tiger. So for an example, some basic characteristic of tiger is actually it has stripes, it is strong. So that is what we call as data, and behavior is what we do in its daily life. So something like it would eat, it would sleep. Yeah, that is called behavior. So these are the two tips for concept of object in Java. Member of a class equals to object of a class. So basically member and object is actually the same meaning. So from the previous example, tiger is the member or object of the class animal. type of object is equals to object class. So we know the tiger, the type is animal, and it is actually the objects class. Guys, if you guys didn't get the previous example, here is another example for you guys. So here we have created a class called car. And from this class, we have created three types of different objects, which is Toyota, Volvo, and Tesla. So Toyota is actually the object's name, and state this Toyota has 4 doors, it's a hybrid car, and etc. So behavior, we can drive the Toyota and we can apply a brake when we're driving it. So I hope you guys can understand what is OOP from these examples. Okay, so guys, this is actually the first code that every coder will do it in a coding course. So this code will be run during tutor session, which will be done after the lecture session. So yeah, I will skip it for now. Okay, so now let me explain to you this code here. So this is actually a class. So from the previous example, we have created. I show you an example that we created a class. So basically, why we need to create a class? So we are creating a class so that our codes are well organized. So for an example, just now we created a class called car. So from there, we created different types of brands such as Toyota, Volvo and Tesla and etc. So by doing this, we can organize our codes according to the category. So like if you want to create an aeroplane, you cannot create using the class car. You need to create a different class for aeroplane specifically. So in this way, it is more organized and systematic, guys. So now let me explain to you each and every word in this code. Public. This says anyone can run this program. Yeah, we will learn more about public later on. And class is, as I said before, all code in a Java program must belong to a class. And this is the name of this class. It can be anything, guys. And curly brace for the opening of the class body. So you need to end this code with a curly brace. So next up is the public state void main string arguments. So this is actually, we call this as a method. If you open a Java editor, something like IntelliJ or Apache NetBeans, right? This is literally the first thing you will see, guys. So this is where the execution of code begins. And this is one of the static method in Java. We can actually create different kind of methods. So each method has its own function. Like for example, you can create a method like to change kilogram to pounds. Yeah, something like that. So, but for now, let's stick with this method and see what is the, we go through each of the word in this code. So public means anyone can run this method. As I said before, we will go through this later. Static. This method belongs to the class, not an object. More on this later, yeah. So next is void. This method doesn't return anything. So for your information, guys, there's actually two type of method. A method that doesn't return anything and method that will return anything. So for now, you guys just remember these two type of methods. And in upcoming session, you guys will be taught on when to use each of these method. So this would be the name of the method. Like for example, if you want to create a method to change kilogram to pounds, you can just name it as kilo to pounds, something like that. And in this bracket, the parameter passed to this method. In this case, the arguments on the command line as an array of string. So I don't want to touch this part right now since it is a bit complicated. But don't worry, guys, you will learn it in upcoming session. And same like just previously for the public class, you also need a curly brace for the opening of the method body. So okay, this slide actually summarizes what we call a reference type. So basically there are two types, reference type and a primitive type. So but in this presentation, I am only given reference type. So for now, actually what is the difference between primitive type and reference type is actually how they store the memory in a computer. So for now, I don't want to start this part. I want to skip this. But if I have time later on, I will teach what is primitive type and what is reference type. So output. So you will use this code here, system out print line, in order to show the result to the users. Okay, so guys, this is the second program, and this program will be done in the tutor session later. So I will skip it for now. Okay, now let's look at data types. So what is data types? there are different kind of values that can be stored and manipulated. So for now, we will be learning 4 data types. First is the Boolean. So Boolean basically is a truth value. It can be true or false. Next up is int. So int is used to store integers and can be negative integer or positive integers. So these are the examples 0, 1, negative 47. And double is actually to store decimal numbers. So the examples are 3.14, 1.0, and negative 2.1. And finally is the string. So string is actually you can store a word or even a sentence. But then if you want to assign a value to the string, you need to use these double quotation marks. Okay, now we will see how we can store a value to a particular type of data. So first, you need to identify what type of data you want to use. So in this example, we want to create a string data type. Then you need to give a name for it. So the name we have given here is actually full. After that, you will be using these equal operators to give a value to the variables. So in this case, a string full, the value we have given to the full variable is I am a genius. So this is sentence, guys. If you guys use string means it needs to be a word or sentence and you need to use the double quotation marks. If you guys use integer, then it needs to be a number. Okay, just now for the declaration of value for the variables, we use two lines of code. But then actually you can actually do it in only one line. So for example, for now, in this example, we are using the variable, the data type double, and then the name we have given to it is bedpie, and the value is a 3.14. So this is much more simpler, and it saves you some time. Okay, this is another code you guys will do in the tutor session, so I will skip it. So in Java, there are operators that can be done. So for example, assignment, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So you guys can do normal mathematical operations using Java. And there's also an order of operation that you guys need to follow. The most priority is given to parentheses. So parentheses is basically brackets followed by multiplication and division and addition and subtraction. So it's basically like what we done in mathematics. So there are different types of operators. So operators are, it is a special symbol which performs specific operations on 1, 2, or 3 operands and then it returns a result. So let's go through it one by one. So first type is assignment operators. Actually, we looked it in the previous slide. So here we have declared two variables A and B and they are both integer type. And then for A, we are assigning the value 2 and for B, we are assigning the value of 3. So we are using the equals operator to assign a value. So that's it for assignment operators. Then for arithmetic operators, it is used to create mathematical expression as in algebra. So to do normal mathematical operations. So we have addition, we can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And guys, you need to memorize these symbols so it will be easier for you guys whenever you do coding. And modulus, this might be a different term for you guys. So modular, actually it returns a division remainder. Okay, so let me give you an example. 5 modulus 2. So the code will return 1. I hope you guys understand since when you divide 5 with 2, the remainder is 1. And then we also have increment and decrement. It increases the value of a variable by 1, while the two negative symbols, it decreases the value of a variable by 1. So now let's look at logical operators. It is an operator which returns a Boolean value, which is based on the Boolean result of one or more expressions. So there are three logical operators. First one is the two and symbols. So if both of the statements are true, then the code will return true. And for the next step is the two straight line dashes. If one of it is true and the other one if it's false, it still returns true. And the exclamation mark is true if an operand is false. Okay guys, let me show you some examples. So this is what I was talking about. So let's look at example. So we have assigned the value of 6 to x and value of 3 to y. So now there are two statements and we look into each of the statements. First is x is less than 10. So this is true since 6 is less than 10, and then we are using the AND operators. Y is greater than 1. So 3 is greater than 1, which is also a true statement. So this code will return the value of true.
Screen.
Sorry?
I think you are not sharing your screen.
Oh. Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
So this is the logical
Thank you.
operators I was talking about. Okay, let me go through this again. So we have assigned the value of 6 to x and value of 3 to y. So now there are two statements here, and let's look at each statement. First statement is x is less than 10. So 6 is less than 10, which is obviously true. And the next statement is y is greater than 1. So 3 is greater than 1, then it is a true statement also. Then this code will return true. So keep in mind guys, if one of the codes in AND operand is false, the code will return false. Okay. So now let's look at the next operator, which is OR. And this is the symbol for it. We are using the same values for x and y. And here they are telling that x is equals to 5 and y is also equals to 5. But as you can see guys, here the value of x is 6 while the value of y here is 3. So both of the statements are false. So in this way, the code will return false. But bear in mind that if one of the statement is true, let's say here they have put 6 here, which means this statement is true, then the code will return true. Okay. So next operator is the NOT operator. So here you can see they are telling that x is equals to y. They're telling that 6 equals to 3, which is obviously a false statement. But then since you are using a not logical operator, it will inverse the truth value. So it will inverse the false and it will return true. So that's all for logical operators. Okay, so I hope you guys understand what is logical operator, and this is ternary operators, and I'm not going to explain this because this is related to loops, which you guys will learn in upcoming sessions. So for now, I will skip it. And next up is unary operators. Unary operators are the one that needs a single operand and are used to increment a value, decrement, or a negate a value. So let's go through this one by one. So these two positive symbols, it will increment the value by 1. There's a post increment and a pre-increment operators. And for negative, it's same also. It decrements the value by 1 and they also have post decrement and pre-decrement operators. So guys, if you look at this example, right, there's a plus plus and plus plus a. So these two things are not the same and they are different. So in upcoming session, you guys will be taught with daily life problems. So you guys will get the idea when to use post increment and when to use pre increment. So for now, just remember there's two types of unary operator, which are post increment and pre increment. So next up is the boolean exclamation mark, which will invert a boolean value. So okay, this is instance variable. Instance variable are the variable that declared in the class but outside the method, constructor, and any block. So I hope you guys understand by the meaning of method, and for the constructor, you guys haven't learned it yet, but you will learn it in upcoming session. So I prefer to explain instance variable by showing an example, guys. So give me a minute. Okay, so these are the example of instant variables. So as you can see, these two are example of instant variable. So from the definition, we learned that it needs to be declared under the class, but it needs to be outside of a method. So these two are actually a method, but as you can see, the instant variable, they are declared under the class and outside the method. So that is actually, you need to know about instant variables for now. And in future, you guys will use it a lot. So for now, you guys try to remember the definition of instance variables. So now let's look at bitwise operator. It operates one or more bit patterns at the level of their individual bits. If an operand is shorter than an integer, then it is promoted to the integer before doing the operation. So there are actually four types of bitwise operator, that is AND, OR, XOR, or complement. So for those who don't know what is bits are, let me show you this example. So actually bits are basically bunch of 1 and 0. So I hope some of you have learned it before in secondary school. And let's look at it one by one. I don't want to go deep into this since it is not that important for beginners. And I tell you why it's not that important for beginners. So this is an AND operand in under bitwise operator. So let's take a look at the last digit of each of the binary numbers. So this is 0 and 1. Assume that 0 is false, the value of 0 is false, and 1 is true. So from what we learn from logical operators, if one of the thing is true and another thing is false, and then you use an AND operand, so you can see guys that one of the thing is false already. So that means the value would be false. So that is why you return 0. If you look at the third digit here, both are 1 and both have the value of truth value. So that is why it returns 1 here. And this one is OR, same like logical operand. If you guys see that here 0 which has the false value and 1 is the truth value. So if you guys do a OR operator using these two digits, so since one of it is true, so then the code will return the value of 1, which is the truth value. And this one is the NOT operator. So basically NOT operator is the inverse of the AND operator. And this one is the complement. So complement basically, if you want to complement A, you need to make the binary number as negative and then add 1 at the last digit of the number. So and this one is the shift-wise operators. So you can, this is called left shift-wise operator. So you can see that we have declared 1 here. So that means the binary number will go to left one place. So this will change the value of the number. So you can see that from 10, it changes to 20. And same goes to the right one. So guys, I don't want to give you that much emphasis on bitwise operators since I don't think so it is that important for beginners. But then let's say you are learning computer graphics. So if you are learning computer graphics, most probably you will be working with photos a lot. So photos are actually made up of pixels and pixels are made up of bits. So if you guys are in that industry, then most probably you will be using this kind of operators. But for now, it's not that important, guys. So let's look at relational operator. It compares two values and determines the relationship between them. Relational operators are used to test whether two values are equal, one value is bigger than the other or the other value is smaller or not. So the first one is two equal sign. So this, if the values of two operands are equal, then the condition becomes true. And if we have an exclamation mark and then an equal sign, if the value of two operands are not equal, then condition becomes true. So guys, I hope you guys can differentiate between these two. And then the final four operators, these are actually what we learn in mathematics, which is greater than, lesser than. And for greater than or equal to, this is how you do the symbol. And for smaller than or equals to, this the symbol look like. So the shift operators, I explained it just now, but I no need to give that much of priority for this. Okay, this is actually a code using mathematical operations and it will be done in the tutor session. Skip it. So let's look at string concatenation. So what is a string concatenation? It is a method that is used to combine multiple strings. So you can see here we have two strings, hello and world. So you can combine it by using plus. So previously we saw we use plus for addition, but you can also use plus to combine multiple strings. And then at the second line of code, we have another text here. Now we are adding text plus number plus 5. So this text is actually from this value here. So hello world, and we are adding another string number, and then you can also add a integer or other type of variables. So if you print this line, the output would be like this: hello world number 5. Okay guys, now we're gonna talk about modifier. Just now I was talking about the public. So this is the part where I will explain what is public and other modifiers. So yeah, so what is an access modifier? So access modifiers are keywords in Java that are used to set accessibility for class, constructor, data number, and method. So we look at them one by one. So the first access modifier is public. The access level is everywhere. It can be accessed from within the class, outside the class, within the package, and outside the package. The next type is protected. The access level is within the same package and outside the package through subclasses. Private. The access level is only within the class. It cannot be accessed from outside the class, including the subclasses. And the default friendly, the access level is only within the package. It cannot be accessed from outside the package. If it does not specify any access level, it will be the default. So guys, actually, I hope you guys understand what is public is. So basically, what they're trying to say public is, if you declare a variable or a method as a public, that means all the users can access it. Okay. So, but if private means, let me give you a simple example. Let's say you want to create a password. So you want to hide from other users. So then you will use private to hide the password from others. But guys, you might wonder, then what is the difference between protected and private? So if I try to explain what is protected means, you guys need to learn about subclasses. So these are actually difficult terms, and you will learn it in upcoming session. So this is only the introduction session. So we don't want you guys to scare you with like a lot of information. So we'll go slowly. Okay. So this is basically what in the previous slide, but they just summarize it. So next up is non-access modifier. So non-access modifier is like we can set special properties to a variable or a method. So by using special properties, they have like a special function, something like that. So first is static modifier. The static keyword is used to declare a variable or a method that is associated with the class itself, not with individual instances of that class. Static variables are used to store global information about a class. Static methods can also be used to change the state of static variables associated with the class. Final modifier. A final class modifier describes a class that can have no subclasses. A final instance variable is one that must be assigned an initial value and then never be assigned a new value after that. If it is a base type, then it is a constant, whereas a final method cannot be overridden by a subclass. Abstract modifier. The abstract class modifier describes a class that has abstract methods. Abstract methods are declared with the abstract keyword and are empty. A method declared as abstract has no code. The signature of such a method is followed by a semicolon with no method body. So guys, you might be wondering, this fellow just like reading what is exactly in the slide and no sample course. So as I said before, this is the introduction class. So yeah, we don't want to burden you with a lot of information. So for now, just try to remember there's a thing called modifier, and there are two types, which are access modifier and not access modifier. So now it would be, if you know what is actually public and private, and that's actually considered great ready. And in upcoming session, you guys will deal with real life problems. So we will teach you when to use each of these modifiers and what is the function of each modifiers in detail. So now let's look at method declaration. As I said at the beginning of my presentation, I told you guys that we can create method like the behaviors. So Java method is a collection of statements that are grouped together to perform an operation. When you call the system of printline method, for example, the system actually executes several statements in order to display a message on the console. So basically, each method has their own function. So these are the steps to declare a method. First of all, you can start with the public, the modifiers. So you might choose to make visible to other users, or you want to make it private also can. Then is the static. So static, you guys will learn more about static in upcoming sessions. And integer. So guys, just now when you guys when I explained about the public static main, the first template, whenever you open a Java editor and that line will come. So if you guys see that here they will use void, but here now we are using integer. So void means that method doesn't return anything, but now we are using int, so that means this method will return something. So guys, don't get confused by what is returning and what is not returning. You guys will get a clear picture of it in upcoming sessions. So for now, let's just concentrate on how to declare a method. And then you apply a name to the method. So my suggestion, my opinion is when you want to give a name to the method, try to make sure the name is related to the function. So for example, if you want to create a method like converting grams to kilograms, so basically you can put the name as gram to kilogram, something like that. And in the bracket here, you can see integer A and integer B. So what does this means? So basically, you will pass through two integers inside this method to do a function. So guys, let me show you an example so you guys can get a clear picture of it. Okay, this is a method that is used to return minimum function. So now we are going to pass through two integers, which are n1 and n2. So these are the loops that you guys will learn in upcoming session. And after these two numbers pass through this code, and this method will return the minimum number. So that is actually method and how does it function. So this is actually another code that will be done in tutor session. Yeah. Okay guys, I want you to guys to take a screenshot of this assignment. So this one is to do in house by yourself. So yeah, basically you need to do mathematical operations and we have given you the value ready. So just try to do it in your own guys. I'll give you 10 seconds to take a screenshot of it. Okay. Okay guys, that's all for today. So guys, to summarize, for today, I really hope that you understand some of the most important things you need to understand is what are the type of data types like the integer, boolean, and then how to assign a value to the integer boolean for the data types. And then you also need to understand the operators other than the bitwise operators, yeah, because we're going to use the operators a lot in upcoming session. So these are the two things like I really strongly feel that you guys need to understand for now. So other than the other topics that I told you today, it will be done in upcoming session. So don't worry guys if you guys didn't understand it 100%. There are more upcoming sessions in the near future, so we will guide you step by step. Okay, so now I will pass it to my tutors where they will teach you and they will run you the code inside the presentations. So that's all guys from me.
Wait, hold on. Could you give me a screenshot of that assignment again? I screenshotted it, but it didn't work. Sorry.
Okay, okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Did you get the screenshot?
Yes, I did. Thank
Okay,
you very
thank
much.
So now I'll pass it to my tutors. So they'll be running some codes from the presentation slides.
All right, guys, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Shurim, and I'm going to show you guys a few examples from the slides that we just saw. All right. So, first of all, the first one is class Hello Java. So we named it Hello, and it's public. So as we know, public is used so it can be accessed anywhere. So yeah, I already put this comment at the side so you guys can read it. Okay. All right. So next, okay, I would like to emphasize this. Main method is actually very important when you start coding. Okay, so because when you want to execute your code, you need to have your main method. Okay, if you didn't have your main method, you cannot run anything. It won't show if you have no error. Even if you don't have any error, okay, you cannot print anything. So yep, so make sure if you have a class and make sure you have your main method. Okay, all right, so let's see what is the output from here. All right, so yeah, can you guys see that? Hello world. Yep. So yeah, you guys can try this out. It's really easy. This is very simple. Okay. All right, so the next example I'm going to show you guys is Hello to Java, which is it's just the same. It came from the slides that we just saw. So yep, we have this public class Hello 2, and we have this main method right here, public static void main, and we're going to print hello world, and we're adding one more line, which is line number 2. So yep, let's run it and let's see. So see, yep, hello world and line number 2. Okay, so you guys can also print it if you guys want to print hello world and line number 2 in one single line. You guys can also write system.out print hello world. Oh wait, nope. Wait, okay, so let's try this first. Let's see. Yep, yeah. Hello world line number 2. So if you guys want to write both of them in one line, you guys can use print. So print won't bring it won't execute the it won't bring this to the next line actually. So it's just gonna print next to the next. Okay, so yep, all right, and then we also have print, and then we also have system.out.println. Oh yep, if you guys want a shortcut to writing system.out.println, you guys can type csut and then tab, and it's ready to go. Okay. So instead of system.out.println, we also have system.out.printf. But this one is a little bit difficult because it has something to do with formatting, but I just want to give you an insight about this. So we're going to learn it later, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to run this again for you guys to see. Okay, hello world, line number 2. You guys can try this. It's very easy. Okay, so next is hello class hello 3. Okay, so in this class, we are creating a variable called foo, and it is initialized with value IAP 6.092. Okay, so we just initialize this. We just create a variable called foo, which has a type string, and it stores this value right here, which is IAP 6.092, and then we're going to print we're going to print this variable foo, and then and in the next line we're assigning new value to foo, which is something else. We write it right here. We're assigning a new value right here, and then we're printing the new value All right, so I'm just gonna show this to you guys so you guys can see it. Yeah, IP 6.092 something else. Bear in mind that when you execute your code, it will actually start from the top and it will go down length of it. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. Oh, and one more. You guys know that, right? Yeah, we can create a variable like this, right? And then we initialize this value. Okay, so we don't have it will still show the same thing. Actually, let's run it first. Yeah. Okay. So this is your first step actually, where we create a new variable. Okay, and then we're assigning the value. But you can also do this on the same line. Actually, it's much easier. Okay, so yeah, I'll run this again for you guys. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I think that's all from me. I'm gonna pass it to my friend to continue with the session. Okay, thank you guys.
All right, guys. Are you having fun for now?
Okay, hello guys. My name is Aibota and I will be your tutor for the rest of the tutorial session. So you can see my screen, right? Okay, so the first program that I will be demonstrating is about the arithmetic operators that you just learned. So inside this main method here, I had this double variable called score, and it has a value of 1 plus 2.0 multiplied by 3. So if you calculate it all equals to 7, right? So now I will be printing this using system.out.println command. Okay, so this is right. You guys can see it, right? So the code here outputs 7.0. Okay, the next program. So what I'm doing here is I had that score variable, right, which equals to 7, and I am dividing it by 2.0. So if you can guess, 7.7 divided by 2 should equal to 3.5. So I'm assigning this 3.5 variable to the score variable again. Okay, so let's try printing it. Yeah, so as anticipated, the program outputted 3.5. Okay, this was easy. It should make sense. So the next program that I will be showing you guys is again do math 2. Okay, so again here I have this double variable again called score, right? So when I print it again should output 7.0, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a new double variable called copy here. This is a new variable, and I'm assigning the score variable that I had created previously to this copy variable. Okay, so here I'm also dividing this copy variable by 2.0 and assigning it to itself again. So when I print this program, yeah, so the first output is for this line. The first program prints the score variable, which is 7, and the second output is for this line, which prints this copy variable. But again, copy variable for this, we have divided it by 2.0. And we are, and lastly, we are also printing this variable score again. So the output is also 7.0, right? Okay, if it's clear, let me move on to the next program. Okay, so the next program is about the scanner class. Well, scanner class is used for getting an input from the user. For example, I have this program here that asks the name of the user. So in order to use the scanner program, you should import this program because it is a built-in method from the Java. And what you need to do is you type import java.util.scanner at the beginning of the class, and we are initializing the scanner class, right? So in order to do that, what you need to do is just type this command here, scanner input. Okay, so you can name this scanner like anything. Here I have named it inputs. You can name your scanner, for example. You can name it in. So the first line here, I have printed a statement. What is your name? So it will output what is your name as a string text, right? So, and next I have created a string variable named name, and it will ask the user to input their name. In order to use that, I have to type input because I have named my scanner class input, and this. In order to scan a string text, we have to use this command. This is also a built-in method. So, what I'm doing here is I'm printing hello plus the name of the user. So I don't know the name yet. I just had to ask, and the user will put their name, and I will print hello name. So let's try running this program. Okay, so it asks me, what is your name? So I put my name, I put that. So, and the program outputs hello, I put that. So you can use the scanner class to get integer objects from the user. For example, let me demonstrate an example. For example, let's say I have an integer named age, and in order to read integer, what I have to do is I have to type input dot, and it automatically gives me all these comments that I can use. So for age, I can type next int because I will be asking for an integer value from the user. So let me print a statement with this age variable. So let's ask, what is your age? Okay, by the way, I have to put for this scanner. Here. Okay. So here I'm also asking for, I'm sorry, I'm printing this statement here. Let's print age. let's try running now. Wait. Oh, I forgot the semicolon. Okay, now if I type 19 and it prints the age automatically, you can use this command to print anything. Like, so let's talk a little bit about what you can print here. So let's say I have a double value here. In order to ask a double value from the user, I have to type next double. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is all about scanner class. Scanner class is something that's very useful. Yeah, these are all the programs that we have here. So, okay, guys, I think that's all for today's session. I really hope you guys got something valuable today. So, yeah, just to give you a reminder, all of the materials, lecture slides have been uploaded to our website, project website. You can find this from this URL, and also the recorded sessions will be posted to our YouTube channel in a few days. And I also want to say that we have Instagram and Facebook page for our project. So if you haven't, please make sure to follow us on there for future updates and announcements. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask us directly here. Any questions? Okay, great. If you understood everything that we have taught today, I think it was a great foundation to start with. Okay, we will end the class at 9 p.m. roughly. Okay, until then, if you have any questions, you can ask directly here.
Can you explain again about the input, about the just now the input thing?
Oh, about the input thing? Okay, so I'm sharing a screen, right? Okay, so as I've said before, the scanner class is used for getting an input from the user. So let's say you're building an app and you want to ask the user for their information, right? So that's when the scanner class is used. So after importing your scanner class, this is just a fixed way for initializing a scanner class. Okay, so I have named my scanner class input. Okay, so in my program here, I am printing the statement, what is your name? Okay, this is just a text. It will just output a string of string text in the terminal, and and I will be asking a user for a string value. Okay, you can decide to ask for any value. It can be integer, double, character, or anything. Okay, but here I'm asking for a name, and a name should be a string. Okay, because a name cannot be integer or double, right? So that's why I'm asking for a string name. So in order to ask for a user, okay. So what you need to do is you need to type input. The reason why I'm typing input is because I have named my scanner input, right? You can name it anything, like you can just name it in, and you're gonna make it in. So after that, in dot, and we have some built-in methods here for receiving a value from the user, but dot next line is used for receiving a string. Okay, this is something you have to memorize. This is something that can't be explained. It's just built in for the string. Okay, so here I'm typing. I'm also printing. Okay, printing a statement, hello, and I'm printing a name. Okay, this will output hello and the name of the user. So the name variable here is something the user has to type. It's something we don't know, right? So I ask for the user's name, and let's say the name is world, okay? And our program will print hello world, okay? So we just printed name here, but it outputted world. This can be only done with scanner class. Does that clear things to you?
Yes, but the string name is equal to in dot next line. Is that a function? That next line is a function.
Yeah, it is a function. It's something that has been given from the Java developers. Okay, it's something we just have to memorize. Yeah. So let me talk. So let's say we want to get an integer value. In order to do that, the function for getting an integer value is called next integer. Next int. For double, it's next double. For car, what was it? Okay. So the next line is, so in our program, next line is used for getting a string value. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
All right, understand.
Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for joining today's session. I really hope you guys learned something very, very helpful. Yeah, don't forget to do your assignment for the practice. It's not very hard, but if you encounter any problems, you can ask us in project WhatsApp group. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then. Did you guys like the session? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, this was our first official session, which covered the Java intro, programming intro. And if you stick around, we can do a quick recap for you guys, basically, and I'll try to upload this for you on the social media for your recap sessions. And basically, today we went over what Java was as an object-oriented programming language, how Java uses the objects, what types are and parameters are, and how to assign variables. Basically, our tutors demoed all of this for you, not to forget about the IO files, like the scanner file. So that was our first session. The next sessions will go through the Java Basics 1, then Java Basics 2, Java Basics 3, which we will upload the syllabus for you later on. Okay. Any opinions you'd like to share? What did you think of the first session? Did you like the session? Happy to hear that. Yes. Yeah, the first session is a bit light for you guys, just to get you guys familiar with some of the environment of the IDE, some of the curriculums, and how to use VS Code. And some of you may use different IDEs. It's all right as long as you can keep up with the tutors. Okay, so that was that. Thank you for joining us. And the next session is on 14th of April. We hope to see all of you there. And thank you very much. Have a nice night. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions about the course, about the syllabus, or any problems, feel free to share it either on the WhatsApp group or share it to our support units. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.
Sir, I have a question.
Sure.
Is it okay if I use other application to coding, to use Java?
Sure.
So
Of
how
course.
should I
You're
assign the assignment?
okay. So for the assignment, since we're using Java, you can basically use different IDEs. There's NetBeans, there's Eclipse. So the reason that we chose VS Code for your project is the ease of its beginner-friendly kind of environment. So basically, you just create the files, you name them, you add the Java file, and that's it. Okay, so the Java file, the IDE basically pastes most of the stuff for you guys. It helps you. As we go further in the syllabus, we'll teach you guys how to use the source action, how to use different settings, different sources. So we have the classes, we have interfaces, we have different uses of multiple classes. So we'll teach you guys all of those in the following session. But for now, we're trying to just give you guys a basic and get you guys familiar with the Java environment through your STEM courses. For instance, the way that we introduced objects to you guys instead of just as class instances was as models. Basically, Java as a programming language uses objects to represent models in the models of real life by using the types and variables to assign them. For example, I wish to model a person in the programming environment of Java. Basically, I just create an instance of the person class, and I assign the name, the height, the age, and the eye color. Okay, so based on the variable that you're assigning and the value that you want to store in it, you have different types, just as our lectures and tutors demonstrated to you. If you want to write a text like name, like color, you use string. If you want to, you just write in a number without the floating point, use int. If you want to add floating point, use double. If you just want to have a true value, like for instance, if you want to add gender, you can just say true for male, false for female. So basically, you can have this as well. Okay, so this is how you can use the parameters and to create objects. And basically, our goal is to get you guys familiar with Java, not as a separate thing, but as an extension of your own courses. That's why we have the gravity calculator for your classic physics as your homework. So please try your best to work on that. Okay, try your best to work on that. And for the next session, which we'll solve it together with you guys in the tutor session after the lecture session, and you can see how you can basically use Java to solve mathematics, solve physics, and simulate different situations, use it as website design or AI projects. And just a reminder, we have a great surprise for you for the part 2. The Java part will be part 1. After that, we'll dive into the artificial intelligence part, which will help you guys expand your borders. Basically, it will expose you guys to different uses of programming, the whole definition of STEM and mathematics, creativity in the programming environment. So we hope you like it. We hope you enjoy it. We'll try our best to keep it understandable, simple, and yet give you guys a lot of room to use creativity, find your passion in programming, and if possible, after the course, we'll try to give you guys a guidance for university as well. So yes, we have great hopes for you guys. We hope you enjoy it, and we thank you for giving us your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
By the way, is it okay to using Replit for coding?
Of course, if you are more comfortable with other IDEs, feel free to use those. It's okay. You just chose
Okay.
VS Code for your ease, but if you're comfortable with the other ones, feel free to use those.
All right.
Thank you. Any other question, guys? Anything you have question about the course, about the future parts, the assignments? Yes, it will be your first, guys. Hope you liked it.
Amir, there's a question in the chat box. Is there any difference using VS Code and Python?
And VS Code is basically an IDE. You can use it for Python, but the course that we have is Java. So you have to either add the .java file or use other IDEs with Java. So because the language we're using is Java, so you can't really use Python. Python isn't a compiler or an IDE. Python is a language, guys. We're using Java. Because when it comes to using IDEs, there's multiple choices. For instance, you can go with NetBeans. I personally suggest that you use the VS Code because it's easier to use, and basically the functionality is a bit simple. You just create a file, you name it, and you start writing the code. And it has a good error checking for you guys. It helps you learn. It actually has a lot of guides. For example, if you have any questions, you can just keep your mouse on it, and it gives you a whole explanation of what this code does. So you can explore the uncharted syntaxes, basically the grammar of coding in VS Code like this. It teaches you the whole definition and the functionalities of each of the code. So that's why we chose VS Code for you guys. It's very simple to use. It has a lot of functionalities. It covers most of your needs. But if you like to use other IDEs, feel free to use them as well. Python is easier than Java, yes, but you need a basic for that to use it, okay? Python is more appropriate for guys who want to go more into AI and want to do more professionalism. For starters, the reason that we want you guys to start with Java is because it will help you guys connect with your own curriculum in high school. Basically, the way that humans think is objective. We use symbolism. We use objects. We use models to represent different events in our lives, and basically that's how your mathematics and physics does. They create a model for you guys to tell you a story, and you use those to solve a question. So that's the whole point of Java. Java has that same logic. It basically creates models of the real world in a programming environment, okay? So it's more close to what you're already familiar with and how you already solve questions, okay? So that's why we start with Java. If we have any other future programs, we'll consider Python as well. Thank you. Any other question, guys? Since it's our first session, you can ask any questions you want, anything about the course, about the curriculum, about the future sessions. All right, guys. So that was it. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you guys in the future sessions and hope you guys get the most out of it. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.